Imagine waking up unable to move, a strange hum buzzing through your brain, and then shadows, figures, watching you, touching you, pulling you through the window as if gravity didn't exist. Now what if that happened not once, but again, and again, and again? In 1991, a woman from Boston claimed she was abducted by aliens. But this wasn't just some late-night conspiracy theory. Her body had strange scars. Her memories buried deep were unlocked under hypnosis. And multiple witnesses reported seeing lights in the sky the same nights she went missing. Was she targeted? Was it all in her head? Or was something watching? Stay tuned, because the rabbit hole goes deep. Let's start with the woman at the center of this chilling case. Susan Michaels? Not her real name. She lived in Somerville, just outside Boston. A 33-year-old elementary school teacher. Quiet life. Apartment cat. Loved gardening. Here's the kicker. Susan was not into sci-fi. Didn't read alien books. Never watched The X-Files, which, by the way, hadn't even aired yet in 1991. Her colleagues described her as skeptical by nature. Even boring. But boring doesn't scream abduction victim, does it? June 7, 1991, everything changed. That night, she woke up at 3:12 a.m. Couldn't move, couldn't scream. The room was bathed in bluish light. She saw 3 small, gray-skinned beings standing at the foot of her bed. It felt like drowning in silence, she later said. And when she woke up the next morning, blood on her pillow, a strange red mark on her neck, her alarm clock blinking 12:00, and she had lost 2 hours. We've all heard sleep paralysis stories before, but this wasn't a one-off. It was just the beginning. Now let's talk evidence. Because this story isn't just about memories and fear. There were things left behind. A triangular burn mark appeared on her thigh. She said she had no memory of how it got there. Her doctor thought it looked like a laser abrasion but couldn't explain from what. Days later, she found a small, metallic bead embedded just beneath the skin behind her ear. It was hard, cold to the touch, and couldn't be moved. When she scheduled an X-ray, the bead vanished. Gone.
No scar.
No hole. Just skin. Skeptics would say, mass hysteria, sleep paralysis, delusion. Over the next 3 months, things spiraled. Susan started waking up outside. Once on her lawn. Once in her car, with the engine running and her keys in her lap. But the doors locked from the inside. She kept a journal. Some entries. I woke up to them above me. The small one touched my chest and I couldn't breathe. I saw stars, actual stars, like I was in space. They said something about my blood. I think they're studying me. What's particularly terrifying is how routine it became. She began to recognize one of the beings, taller than the others with long insect-like limbs. It didn't walk. It glided. She nicknamed it the Doctor. And then came the dreams, or maybe they were memories, of a child. Pale skin, huge black eyes, a thin wisp of blonde hair. It said I was its mother. But I never had children. Many alien abductees report seeing hybrid children. Part human, part something else. So here's the question. If hundreds of people report the same hallucination, is it really just a hallucination? Susan turned to Dr. Kenneth Pascoe, a psychiatrist specializing in repressed memories. She underwent regression hypnosis, and that's when things really got dark. She described being pulled through her second-story apartment window, but without breaking it. She saw a fleet of craft above Boston Harbor. Inside a ship, she remembered cold tables, painful instruments, and hearing voices. Not with ears, but directly in her brain. You will not remember. You agreed. You belong to us. But here's a question for you. How does a physical object vanish from inside your body without a trace? Let me know in the comments. What would you believe? She recalled other humans on board. Men and women lying motionless, hooked to tubes. Some looked alive. Others, not so much. Now, skeptics often dismiss hypnotic regression as suggestion-prone. But Dr. Pascoe insisted. What Susan described was consistent, specific, and emotionally raw. If she was lying, she deserves an Oscar. And here's a twist. She described symbols on the ship walls, odd geometric patterns. Months later, another abductee from Maine drew identical symbols. Coincidence or shared experience? Here's where it gets next-level weird. 1991 wasn't just Susan's personal nightmare. It was a hotbed of UFO activity. Multiple Boston-area residents reported glowing orbs, black triangles, and silent craft that summer. A man jogging near Jamaica Pond saw what he called a giant black diamond hover over the trees for 5 seconds, then blink out of existence. The New England Aerial Phenomena Society, NEAPS, documented 13 separate reports of close encounters within a 40-mile radius of Susan's home between June and August 1991. One sighting matched the night Susan was found screaming on her porch, claiming, "They took something from me." Even more interesting, Boston Logan Airport experienced radar anomalies during the same period. Controllers saw aircraft appear, vanish, then reappear, traveling at speeds no human aircraft could survive. But the FAA never released a full report. Cover-up? Or just technical glitches? Years later, a former Air Force radar technician spoke anonymously to a UFO documentary team. He claimed, "NORAD was alerted multiple times in 1991 due to unidentified objects over New England." The term non-hostile observer craft was allegedly used in a classified report. He also claimed that a high-altitude surveillance balloon was launched over Boston to observe anomalous aerial traffic. Let that sink in. If these reports are true, the military knew something was up. Now ask yourself, if it was just one woman having strange dreams, why did multiple government systems go haywire? By late 1991, Susan's life had crumbled. She stopped teaching. She covered her windows in foil and tape. She kept all the lights on, always. She even wore a bicycle helmet lined with copper mesh, believing it would block telepathic messages. Family tried to help. Friends distanced themselves. At one point, she was briefly hospitalized for exhaustion. Her psychiatrist noted she suffered from trauma with no identifiable source, and her MRI showed unusual temporal lobe activity, the same region linked to memory, hallucination, and intense spiritual or paranormal experiences. Whether real or imagined, Susan was living in constant terror. In 1995, Susan left Boston. She moved to Arizona, changed her name, and cut off contact with everyone, including her therapist and the UFO researchers. Before vanishing, she left behind one last journal entry. "They don't want me anymore. I think they got what they came for. I hope that's the end of it." To this day, no one knows where she is. Her story faded into obscure UFO circles until now. So, was Susan Michaels abducted by aliens in 1991? Was it trauma dressed as memory? Was it a government experiment? Or was it something else entirely? Backhand index pointing right, let us know in the comments. What do you believe? If you've had a similar experience, or know someone who has, we're listening. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. Because next week, we're diving into the Hudson Valley Lights, the strangest mass UFO sighting on the East Coast. Until then, sleep tight.